Welcome to Shiftology Live. I'm your host, Terry Wildemann, and I'm the founder of Shiftology and Intuitive Leadership. This show is where high achieving leaders come to share the real stories behind their most powerful shifts, the pivots, the wake up calls, the breakthroughs that change everything in their business and in their life. Each episode, we explore what it means to lead with soul, to grow with passion, and to reconnect with the truth behind these wonderful long titles that we often give ourselves in business and in life. Today's guest is someone whose story aligns deeply with that mission. We both love talking about stress. Please meet Diana Stevens. She's a PhD in holistic coaching and is the CEO and founder of Mindful Job Alignment. She's an author and a podcast guest. She was a speaker at Inspire Your Life. Her programs bring together the intersection of mindfulness and life transitions. Yes, we have a lot in common. She works with people looking to find an emotional balance during stressful life transitions. She is enthusiastic about helping people balance their lives and regain their joy and survey their skills and values to formulate a life vision plan. Welcome to the show, Diane. I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
So, Diana, I would love to know what is one of the biggest shifts that you've had in your life that have taken you to where you are right now?
Well, one of the biggest shifts I had was actually in midlife, and I had a 16-year odyssey with my mother with Alzheimer's.
Mm.
And she and I were both only children, so there wasn't a lot of other support. And my father was already deceased at that point. So it was a very long journey. It was one that what layered on top of that were five corporate downsizings,
Ooh.
which brought me to start working with mindful job alignment. But it wasn't just an overnight journey. I started back with exploring different modalities that were going to help me be calmer, less stressed. I knew I was going to be dealing with some heavy decisions and heavy stress in my life for a while, so I had to have better coping strategies. So I got involved with Reiki energy healing. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I studied that over a number of years and had looked at a number of different other spiritual readings. I was involved in my church. I sang professionally in the choir, but I also looked at Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist thought and just listened to a lot of different people and got a lot of different techniques. In 2019, I decided to go back to school. I had always wanted to get my doctorate. It was just a matter of what I was going to get my doctorate in, and decided and landed on holistic coaching. I found a school that was combining spirituality with metaphysical, with holistic coaching techniques, all wrapped into one, and it really kind of called to my soul to do that. So I went to school, back to school. I finished my dissertation, which is a mindful approach to job search, where I overlay some of these techniques along with the tactical side of job search that we're all very familiar with, and founded my company a couple of years ago. And so then I've been was working on exiting from corporate America, which was once again kind of done for me because companies are always right sizing, and I was impacted by a few more downsizing, so I decided to go full throttle into the mindful job alignment.
Congratulations. It's amazing to me to see how the downsides keep happening until we finally get it what we're meant to be doing. Don't you agree?
Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes it's not always that easy. There's that pesky little thing of needing health benefits and finances, in there. So fortunately I'm at a in an age cohort now that I have some of that covered and I don't need a job for that.
Got it.
But yeah, then again, I still want to keep working. So but yes, it was a quite it was a bit of a journey.
I'm listening to your story. We are so in alignment in so many areas. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I was a caregiver for 20 years. So,
Oh,
yes, I get it very much. And there were two of them, not one. There were two. And
oh,
up until
God.
fairly recent. So, I understand completely what that's all about. And caregiving can be really hard. And caregiving while you're running a business or have a career or whatever, it does bring you out. It can, you
Yes.
will lose yourself if you're not careful.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately I was working the whole time, and I'm single and self-supporting, so I had to put my mother into a care home because she had to be supervised
Hmm.
24/7. That was difficult because there wasn't money for it. So, but it all worked out, and I got through it, and not without some other bumps financially, but it. And one thing about caregiving is that you love everyone to death, and they took care of you when you were young, and one day it just ends.
Hmm. Hmm.
It just ends because they make their transition,
Hmm.
and then you miss them, but there is the piece that you're finally not caregiving anymore.
Exactly.
And actually, my decision on opening a business had to do with, I thought about all the things I've been through, and I thought, well, am I going to talk about elder care, or am I going to talk about career? And I honestly didn't choose the elder care because I don't have a nursing background. And I thought there's so many professionals out there that are estate planning attorneys and nurses that
Hmm.
I didn't go that route. I went the route of career, and actually, it fulfills me a lot more. I love helping people with their journeys and help them make sense.
Hmm.
The mess becomes their mission, so to speak. And so I love helping people work through that.
Brilliant. So that was one heck of a shift, was it not? When all of a sudden you're sitting there and it's a combination of so many emotions when all the tasks that you had done in the past, you don't have to do them anymore.
Yeah.
I know for me, it was a sense of freedom to a degree.
Yep.
There was very little guilt because I gave so much of myself, as it sounds like you did too.
Yes. Exactly.
And
Yes.
it's like, wow, now it's my turn.
I actually had one of those moments. I had a job in 2015 and 2016 where I was traveling a lot in my car, selling to
Mhm.
florists and garden centers and Christmas tree farms. I was selling ribbon. And I was driving to one of my clients one day, and it just dawned on me, you're free now. You
Mm.
can live wherever you want to live. You can work wherever you want to work,
Mhm.
and nothing's holding you.
That's
And
right.
I went, oh my gosh, I have to be with that for a minute because
Yeah.
I had just lived, my life just for the caregiving for so many years. And I was very clear even before that it started, when I about 10 years prior to it started, I would see some friends or neighbors who had elderly parents in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
And I would look at that and say, oh, that's going to be me.
Yeah, I had
And
two in
I
wheelchairs.
knew that was coming in
Yeah.
my life journey. And I just got ready for it. But
Mhm.
I think when you are done, you're ready to, you can help a friend if it happens to them, but you're ready to walk on with your life and not look back at it and
Yeah.
relive it.
Something, I was at an event in February and somebody said, "Wow, you're in a new chapter of your life." I said, "Oh, no, no. That book has closed. It's not a new chapter. I'm
Yes.
starting a new book with a
Yes.
lot of new chapters."
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I'm right there with you.
So I'm curious, when you talk about mindfulness, when you talk about stress management and all the wonderful things in alignment when it comes to people who are in business or entrepreneurs to get themselves aligned with the workplace and with life. What is their response to you?
Usually that they don't have time or they haven't thought about it deeply enough. And usually what happens is when people are so busy in their life, and we have a lot of superficial stimulation every day.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. And if you constantly partake of that superficial stimulation, you will stay on a superficial level with your thinking.
Hmm.
So there really is a piece about taking that time to be quiet going inward, and it's a self-exploration journey. Self-exploration journeys are not for everybody because they don't want to do the work involved to self-explore, and that's their prerogative. And there are plenty of people who will not do that work. But I think for those of us who are on a journey, and there's a lot of things that we're not conscious to, that the way we're being or what's going wrong, like you can tell when things negative things repeat themselves in your life, that you need to address what's causing that. And we're always the root cause of what goes on in our life based on our choices. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand, and they
Mhm.
don't want to take responsibility for.
Yeah, the
So I
choice is a big deal, is it not?
it is a big deal. And it's just, mindfulness is not something that happens overnight. The only thing about it that can be done, that people have to develop a muscle in, is to sit quiet. I teach my clients to start with 30 seconds to a minute and just learn how to breathe deeply and exhale deeply, to really take it in down the lungs and to really have the body start relaxing, and then to do a body scan for tension and just to relax. And it can be done anywhere. Most people think you have to go sit outside in the lotus position, with your hands, and you don't have to do any of that. But I think because that's how it's presented, people think, oh my God, I don't have time for that. And it's just not time consuming. But that idea of sitting still and then allowing your mind to clear, and just let the thoughts come and go as they will naturally, and don't get all riled up about it and mad that you have thoughts coming and going, because we will have thoughts.
We
But
will.
to just sit and be and to relax, and then usually once you start calming down, the thoughts that do come in will be insightful, intuitive thoughts that you can write down, because they might even be solving a problem.
Mhm.
And
That's
you
exactly
write
right.
them down, and then you just start doing brain dumps of what's coming to you and easing into it, at a time of day that will be good for you, that you can do this. Some people can do it first thing in the morning. They love that.
Yeah.
I myself am a night person. So I do all mine end of the day, early evening
Mhm.
is better. My Sundays are sacred to me. It's for me, and I do my spiritual practices in the late morning, and I'm journaling, and I keep that calendar clear on Sunday so I can just rest and plan for my week and not be frenetic. But it takes a while. I'm an A type.
It does take a while.
This didn't happen overnight.
You know, I got licensed with the Heart Math Institute the weekend after 9/11.
Mm,
And one of the pieces that I created was the quick shift. And as I share with folks, I said 60 seconds. That's all it is. It's 60 seconds. It's
yep.
not about running, if you can put a timer on your computer or on your watch and have it go up off every hour on the hour and just take a deep breaths for 60 seconds into your heart, that sets, and you know this, you're reducing the cortisol levels, you're increasing
Yes.
the DHEA levels. It
Yes.
is, you don't have to sit there for 5, 10, 30 minutes, an hour to meditate. You don't have to do that. It's
Right.
about doing it just for, and if you can't do 60 seconds, do 30 seconds. Or as you
Exactly.
said, 15 seconds, whatever it is, but take that conscious break to be able to uh, shift your perspective and your mindset and get into that mindful alignment that you talk about.
Yes. And but the first time people do it and the first time they relax, I use that in my job search groups, which I do every second Friday of the month. I have a job seeker support group. And one of the things I do is a quick 1 minute meditation where I
Great.
do that. I do the breathing and then I do the body scan, and people are just amazed at how
Yeah.
relaxed they feel just sitting in their chair. And I
And do you
said,
find
that's
they
the whole point of this.
now do you find that they attract their job? I didn't mean to interrupt, but do you find that they attract their jobs easier or their jobs align easier the more they do it?
They align easier, and
Hmm.
they stop being so stressed out about it. They have a new little tool in their toolbox to calm down at night. Some of them have done it before they went to bed. They were lying in bed and they tried it,
Hmm.
and they knew that a couple of them were running very, very high on anxiety, and the the funds were starting to get tight. And so they would try it at night and they said, "Oh my gosh, it works. I'm just amazed. And I'm going to try this more often now. I'm going to do this more often because it's simple and I feel more relaxed and the deep breathing helps you go to sleep faster."
So I'm curious, what do you find in your clients or the prospects that that before they come into your practice, what are they most resistant to?
Well, in some cases, they're resistant to applying mindfulness to the job search because they want a quick resume rewrite or LinkedIn profile update. And we're so conditioned to the tactical side of job search
Yeah.
that they don't feel they have time to do this other. And I'm a proponent of body, mind, spirit overlaid over the tactical side of job search. You have to have both because there's so many things in a career scenario, transition scenario that you don't control. That you don't control the interview cycle, you don't control the market, you don't control the decision timeline, you don't control whether they're going to keep in touch with you. The ghosting is a really big issue
Yeah.
nowadays. And people get so emotionally upset over that. And the reason they're emotionally upset is because they're attached to finding another job. They have not gone out and tried to find side income. They're not looking at a portfolio career. They're just tunnel vision focused on another W-2 employee job.
Hmm.
But what I teach is not only the body, mind, spirit side, but the first thing you do if you lose your job, you go out and find a part-time job because you want to have that supplemental income coming in. You want to still be with people and you want to be in communities. So there's that, there's consulting, there's, putting skills and hobbies to work. So usually it's that fear
Hmm.
of the money that drives the overdrive of the tactical side and ignoring of the mindful side. And
Got
if
it.
people have never, ever, ever considered the spiritual aspect of work and the mindful aspect of work,
Hmm.
then they need to do some work to open up the receptivity to that.
Well,
I mean, some people are just simply not spiritual, and they
right.
they don't believe in it, and then those probably wouldn't be appropriate people for
And
my work.
and for those folks, I know for myself when those folks come into my world, I basically tell them this isn't spiritual, which it can, it's breathing. Your body needs to breathe. Your body needs to relax. So I stay away from the spiritual world or
Right.
word, not world. I'm into it up to my eyeballs. I stay
Right.
away. I mean, my business name is intuitive leadership. So yes, I'm all about teaching people intuition. But like what you're talking about with the tactile and the practical, what I find is that a lot of it is the way we're raised, especially if we're raised in an environment where, oh no, 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 it's got to be this, 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 and this, and God forbid you bring anything different. Like when you mentioned you were a Reiki master, I became a Reiki master in 1998. And
Mhm.
I remember my mother, devout Catholic, oh good
Okay.
God, she thought that I went off the deep end.
That happened to my teacher.
Oh,
She was Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and
okay.
my mother was already out of it that she didn't know what I was doing. But yes, my Reiki master teacher had the same scenario.
Yeah.
Her mother
So
thought she was a witch.
and it happens, it happens. And I just sit there going, I don't think that God would create something like this because I'm healed from what was bothering me. So
Right.
is that really such a bad thing? And it got her thinking. It took her a long time for her, change
Mhm.
was hard. My dad's like, I don't believe in anything you do. Okay. That's okay. So I do find that it's a lot of it has to do with the way we're raised. And
Yes.
are we willing to break the pattern from our environments?
Right. Well, I had an interesting upbringing because my mother was Catholic, but my father was agnostic. But
Mm,
my father was an engineer for AT&T for 45 years, electrical engineering, but he was also a professional magician and he
oh
was
my
a
God.
mentalist. So my dad had books from Edgar Cayce.
Oh my
He
gosh.
believed in Darwin, the voyage of the Beagle, all this, right? So I had this, and I grew up with a lot of psychics, mediums,
Hmm.
uh, card players, magicians, all these people who were professional at
Right.
this. And so I saw that whole world of metaphysics at a
That's
very early age.
that's so cool. That
And
is
so,
so
and
very
then
cool.
again, and the two of them peacefully coexisted. And my mother was fascinated by it. She wasn't, but so that I probably am. So I'm a bit of a mutt when it comes to that, I suppose. But
Well,
I've always had that interest, and I've always had, and
it's
see, he
brilliant.
was psychic.
It's
So, and he
brilliant.
was, and he, everything was based on the science of mnemonics. So, but yeah, it was fascinating. I wish he would have lived longer. Well, I lost him when I was 26, but
What a great way
um,
to grow up. That's very,
yeah.
very cool. Very, very cool. Well, Diana, we're getting close to the end of
Okay.
our session today. Would you please share with the audience one last bit of wisdom that they can walk away with from today?
Well, I want to remind everyone that their transitions do not need to hurt. There's plenty of support out there. There is plenty of ways to relax. There's plenty of people to talk to work through it. And you don't have to be alone, and it does not need to hurt. It can be a time of tremendous growth, and you'll meet wonderful new people. The pathway, you could be introduced to a whole new pathway.
Wow,
So
that's
that's what I really want to
absolutely
impart.
brilliant.
You may not feel wonderful while you're going through it, but eventually on the other side of it, you're going to be so much wiser and you're going to know yourself so much better.
Absolutely true. Well, what a powerful conversation we've had today, Diana.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for sharing your truth, your wisdom, and everything that brought you today. If this episode resonated with you folks, take a moment to reflect. What shift is intuitively calling to you right now? Because you don't have to navigate it alone. Diana just said that. And I would love it if you subscribe to Shiftology Live so that you can get more of these powerful discussions. And if you're ready to connect with your intuition, your purpose, and your inner power, join me in the Prosperity Power Network on Facebook or explore one of our retreats. I'm Terry Wildemann. Thank you for listening. And until next time, keep honoring your intuitive heart. See you next time with another brilliant guest to your success.